Welcome back to Open Mic. In fact, the discussion that we've been having has been really, for me, exhilarating, and certain things are coming out that I never thought of, and I'm sure you, the viewers, would not have thought so, but here you have food for thought, which is most important. A question to you both now. How do you see the future of the United Workers' Party under Mr. Alan Chasney?
Honestly, I think, Denise, the United Workers' Party has a fantastic future for two reasons. First, St. Lucia is ready for a trade without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. Secondly, you have a young gentleman coming in here who has, in the last 3 years, earned his keep, so to speak. He is taking a beating from every aspect.
Even from me, eh?
Yeah, correct, yeah.
Yes.
And you have realized that.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, they have tackled him first about his color, because of his supposed economic power,
Yes.
now, then his education, and so the list goes on.
Yeah.
And all sorts of innuendos have been cast against him. But Alan has withstood it with a fair amount of resilience, and I think they have realized that now, okay? They can go on and on as long as they want, but what they don't understand, and Alan has told them, instead of minding his business with the United Workers' Party, run the country,
Correct.
which is deteriorating, okay?
Correct.
Alan has his work to do, and regardless of what goes on in the party, the United Workers' Party will be united. The United Workers' Party will win the next elections, without a doubt. And more importantly, it will surprise many people the number of seats they're going to get, because St. Lucians have had enough, okay? Let me tell you something, Dennis. People are hurting in this country, regardless of what they may say, okay? I mean, even Sarah Flood, I listened to on Newspen yesterday, and she made it very clear that something has to be done. And when a labor hack called her and said to her that Dr. Anthony is doing his best, her response was, his best is not good enough, because we're still going down the tube. So St. Lucians have realized what is going on there, and they want a change. They really want a change. But Dominic may have something to say about that.
Well, your views on the situation?
I think it's a very exciting time for us, actually. I think we're a more modern organization, and you know, Alan has done some very proud and very necessary things to retool the United Workers' Party into a very modern organization. You've got to fix governance at the party level in order for you to govern. You can't be governing your party like a dictator if you're going to go in to win. You know, I challenge any of the aspiring labor leaders.
That is what they're saying about
I challenge,
him,
but
that he's
been
almost
through,
like a dictator
but
in the party.
He's been through 3 conventions and he's allowed it. He didn't have to have any. When
Which
you
is
look
true,
at the
yes,
United Workers'
yes.
Party, we never had conventions with such frequency. And as well, he's willing to work with people that has challenged him. You know, I campaigned, for example, for Claudius Preville at the last convention. But
Yes,
now
yes, I remember
we're
that,
working
yes.
together,
Yes.
because this is the kind of democracy that we're building in the United Workers' Party, whereby we have a sort of a dialogue. And I think that we become perfect and our ideas are perfected when we challenge each other and when we test each other. But it must never be personal, and it must never be petty or vindictive. But it must always remain as a very pure
But nobody
contest
calls
of
you a
ideas.
Suse.
In terms of
because you said you were working with Preville, and
Yes.
now you're with Alan.
Yeah.
So
Well, you have to. Alan emerged as the leader, and the majority of the delegates in our party said that they prefer Mr. Alan Chasney as the leader of our party, and therefore you have no other choice but to support what the majority wants.
But that's
if
what
you're in a
democracy
democratic
is about.
organization,
Exactly,
that's it.
but
yeah.
that's what democracy is
Correct.
about, and that is what a lot of
Yeah.
them are running away from. The same
Correct.
people who say it should be democratic are the same people who are now,
Yeah.
you know, wanting to do otherwise.
You know, Dennis, you know what happened actually, which is quite interesting. I was watching HCS last night, and the people speak to an open mic.
Yes, yes,
And it was clearly said by 5 to 6 guys at this
I heard it. Yes.
You heard it, right?
Yes,
It's
yes.
the same guys who are causing the problems who were part of the Super 8,
Yes.
okay?
Yes.
Who
Yes.
gave Stephen King a dusty time.
Yes.
And you know, when I look at a guy like Stephen King, I like Stephen King, okay? Steve knows exactly what he went through. And you know, one would have thought by now he would have understood. I think if Steve has a man-to-man talk with Alan, yeah, that a lot of this nonsense can be thrown out of the window. But I'm certain that Stephen King and Alan will get together, unless I'm a dreamer, I don't know. But you know, at the end of the day, it is said, of course, that you know that Steve's head is being filled by a lot of other disgruntled individuals. But I think Steve was a politician for a number of years. He understands the business. Yeah. And the only hurtful part is the fact that it is hard for Steve because, you know, he was the Prime Minister, he's been in politics a long time, but he has to understand that things change. And as Dominic quite rightly said there, I don't take part in the daily runnings of the United Workers' Party, but I know these guys have a lot of meetings. Alan has had a lot of very influential and talented people coming from Barbados, from the United Kingdom, from elsewhere here to highlight the importance of winning the elections, because you know everything is scientific these days. When you look at Obama,
Yep.
nobody thought Obama would win the elections.
Yeah, yeah.
In the last elections, one of the reasons why Dr. Annie was successful because he's able to capitalize on the social media, and today
and to the end, and to the end.
Yeah, comparisons are generally are odious.
Yes,
so
yes,
I'm
yes.
not going to compare what the United Workers' Party are doing versus what the Labour's Party are doing.
No.
But one thing I can say to Central and the Central Labour Party, when it comes to the social media, they're not going to have it their way this time, because they are both parties are well versed in what they're doing there.
Yeah.
It's going to be a real head-on elections. That I can tell you.
Yeah.
I think the people have already spoken. I think we've, you know, as we travel through the country, we see that people are frustrated, they're insecure, they're hopeless about what's happening in our country, and they're very ready. They're crying out for change. Their voices.
Mm-hmm. But the change. What you mean by change? Supposing the Labour Party changes some of its people who are now there, which people may think that they are really not working, somewhat mundane, and they change. Don't you think that probably the people might jump and don't forget when they see change like that,
I
they
can
may
answer
think
that question,
they can
Dennis.
reinvigorate the
Well, a lot of those
party.
new candidates, let's go through them right now. Let's go through some of those new candidates. So in ancillary candidates, for example, the people will tell you very well all about Dr. Long, who I do love as a person.
Yes.
I think he's a very pleasant person.
But
super
we hear
guy.
that he's not going.
But,
So
but
he
there
may
you
not.
go.
He may not run.
So whenever you have to change a candidate, every election, then I question your judgment.
Okay.
If what you present to the people fails, then I have your judgment is also bad.
Good, Michael.
Yeah,
you were
see,
saying.
Yeah, what I was saying, Denise, is the fact that we talk of change, but remember, the captain of a ship is very, very important, because if you change the crew and you're on the same course, you're still on the same, it's not the wrong course.
But that is why the Labour Party is targeting Ireland, isn't it? They say if you chop the head, the body will fall.
That's right. But they have to look from within.
Yep.
Because as far as I'm concerned, we are heading towards a reef, okay? And the captain is not noticing he's going aground.
Are you talking about the country now?
The present Labour Party.
The country.
The country.
The
Okay?
country.
We had it's run. The country is captained by the Prime Minister of this country.
Correct.
And if we are heading towards the rocks, we are aground already. We are aground, okay, so to speak. And even though they have the crew below, and he say I'm not changing course, you can change all the crew members you want. You're still on the wrong course, and that is part of the problem, you know. So that is where we are, and but I would say in general that you know the country is actually begging for a change at this time. Good. I mean, you just have to walk around St. Lucia, and you don't even have to ask any question. It's being told, it is being served to you on a platter. Things are hard. Something has to happen.
Well, on Open Mic tonight, what we have heard is, and you've just heard Michael talked about change. And if we are to believe the two gentlemen that I've been speaking to, then we will say that certainly change is coming. I am sure a lot of people, I've called them the silent majority that are sitting and just waiting, not interested in what is going on between the two parties, but they've already made up their minds whom they are going to vote for, to the extent that I'm hearing many a times, I don't really want to talk about it because I've already made up my mind, you know. I hear lots of people who say, well, they're not against the Labour Party, but they're against a certain person. As far as I am concerned, until the fat lady sings, nobody knows who's going to win an election, because on the day itself, that is when, if a party makes up its mind to win and gets its people out to vote, then they have a very good chance of winning. But if they don't, and they sit back and expect the election to be won, then they are making a mistake. And I hope that the United Workers' Party, because I've always heard good opposition makes good government, whether it's the Labour Party, whether it is the United Workers' Party. But that's what we want. We want two good parties fighting each other as gladiators and coming out to help with the development of this country. So I want to thank you, Michael, for allowing me to, you know, be the master of ceremonies on Open Mic, and I hope that St. Lucians, wherever you are, will listen to this program and listen to what the two gentlemen have had to say, because I think it has been very interesting and exhilarating. Good night. And I'm not going to say good night, but good night.